Hello everyone, I'm Alice. Today we are going to talk about branding and messaging on the social media. How can you, a businessman, can brand and message about your products or services on the social media? I would like to give you 3 important things that are really helpful if you want to do it efficiently. Firstly, interns make copy, not social media strategies. Secondly, branding and messaging need to be consistent. And finally, is personal ethics matters. Now we will discuss in detail about each issue in the following sections. First, I want to tell you about a story about my friend. My friend Jack was an intern a few times in his life. He learned a lot from those who were his mentors. Internships enable interns to learn about the workings of a real company and how it relates to their current educational course. Companies with interns are getting somewhat free labor and are also gaining insight into the younger generation perspective. Interns are a great addition to your social media strategy. However, think carefully about how you integrate them into your social media team. How much access do you really want to give these interns to your marketing processes when they are leaving in just a few months? Think about not only the social media strategy's future goals, but also what happens if you have an intern who learns your company's social media strategies and then moves on and use that knowledge for a competing company's benefit. Interns come into your company for the summer, likely know as much about your company and your brands as they can find on the internet, where this generation consumes the majority of this information. If your company is well known or has the major brands, you likely have a Wikipedia page that interns can read and learn the company history in an hour or less. However, knowing the history does not mean they know your brand. Brands can become iconic and hold meaning. Unless interns do the kind of in-depth research that is required of any marketing plan from the beginning to become successful, they probably only scratch the surface on knowing and understanding your brand and the value it brings to the customers. However, interns can be a part of the equation. They can give you insight into how these generations use these social media sites. They also might be able to point you in the direction of several social media sites you might not have been aware of. They can be part of your team, but it is not a wise decision to make them the leaders of the social media strategy. Along with knowing your branding, interns do not know the inner workings of the ethics and philosophies. Although these ethics and philosophies might be written in the HR manual the interns get on the first day, the interns do not have a grasp on how those ethics and philosophies relate to the job they will be assigned to do for the company. As for any new hire, learning how your company operates takes time. Understanding how your company's ethics and philosophies were formed and how they affect the current business will probably take half to 3/4 of the time interns are slated to be with your company. Fully understanding your ethics and philosophies is a must for an intern to represent you in the social media communities and to build a strategies for your company. How you converse with customers, the value propositions you share about your products and services, and even how you want the general public to perceive the company all come from your ethics and policies. When the interns arrive, they likely know what they have seen from the outside, but that perception can be derived from the false information. If you set them loose in social media, you can make serious missteps if they do not have the solid foundations in your company's philosophy and ethics. Unless you are promising the summer interns a job after they graduate, they have no real vested interest in your company beyond their last paycheck or college credits. In the beginning of their internships, interns will likely want to have you out, but as the time with you approaches the end, their focus will waver to the next adventures in their lives. This is not saying anything bad about interns or your company and the way it operates. It's just a common intern behavior. Consequently, do you really want to put a major piece of marketing in the lap of someone who will eventually leave and who therefore has no real vested interest in seeing the plan successfully implemented? They are excited and appreciative when they arrive, and they eventually settle in, and they start the process of leaving. Unless you guarantee them a position after they graduate based upon their performance with the company during their internship, they will not be motivated to invest a ton of time or brain power in helping you attain social media success. If you had a public relations intern for the summer, would you have that intern research, plan, launch, and report on a major new product? I bet you couldn't place the success or the failure of the new product's launch in the hands of an intern. Interns might be a part of your team that puts together a great PR event for your product launch, but you could leave the heavy lifting to your experienced PR experts. This is a real war, real dollars, and real success or real failure. You pay the expert substantial amounts of money for a reason, and their experience are proven and know the pitfalls and shortcuts to put the event together successfully. An intern just does not have the proven track record. Just as you couldn't leave your PR event planning solely in the hands of an intern, do not be tempted to do that with the social media strategy either. Even though a company might be a local company, launching a website opens it to a global community. It is important to recognize the talents and skills of the interns and incorporate them into helping you implement your social media strategy. However, it is just as important to recognize that social media marketing is not a fly-by-night marketing medium. Instead, social media marketing is a global platform that enables customers from all over the globe to converse and engage with the brand. Interns are likely checking their Facebook pages every few hours to connect with their friends and family through word posts, tag photos, and posting in the groups they belong to. They are quite savvy when it comes to the social media sites and the use of them without proper training. Interns rarely do not think much beyond how they connect with their friends on these types of sites. They do not think of the sites from the marketing perspective. Unfortunately, most marketing and PR classes taught today still do not include online marketing. So the thought of using Facebook or a blog or a Flickr to market to a demographic can be quite foreign. Because interns are new to your business and possibly business world itself, it is very unlikely that they will have the experience needed to be able to listen, understand, and empathize with the communities you want to engage with. Therefore, it is fairly unlikely that interns can create and implement the social media strategies. In addition, how can your audience truly relate to interns who lack experience with product or service? If you want to build true, foundational, and respectful relationship in these communities, you need to have a team of people from your company who can relate to your target demographics. For example, if you're selling a trendy body spray, interns might be effective in the engagement part of the social media strategy. But if you're selling a scrapbooking supplies, interns will not be the people want lead up the charge or being the voice of your strategies, because the primary demographic of scrapbookers are mothers. Interns are likely the summer winds, fun, delightful, refreshing, and gone before you realize it. For this reason alone, relying on them to research, plan, and implement a social media strategies is an unwise decision. They come into the company in May and are gone in mid-August or sometimes sooner. That's an incredibly short amount of time to get anything substantial established, let alone be able to measure for its true success or failure. Interns will not be around long enough to both build and sustain the kind of relationship that need to be made in the social media communities to have a successful venture into social media. By the time they will discover the community, watch, listened, and made a few engagement with community members, it is a time for them to return to school. If you've brought interns into the engagement portions of your strategy, make sure you are upfront about who they are and how long they will be around. The last thing you want is the community developing a solid relationship with an intern, only to see the intern leave, graduate, and then land a job with a competitor. Secondly, branding and messaging need to be consistent. When it comes to branding and messaging, the marketing people are experts. Looking to them for directions in creating the best messaging that reflects both the company's philosophies and how you should present the products or services to the public. However, companies need to remember that offline and online marketing work differently. The offline audience can view brand very differently than an online community. Knowing that everyone in the community or the companies has some roles in social media strategy, whether or not they are aware of it. Companies do not usually educate all their employees on their marketing messaging, nor they do articulate the goals of the messaging to all employees. Having everyone in the same boat when that social media strategy impacts is important if you want to avoid straying off course. You should educate everyone in your company about your marketing efforts, especially the social media strategy and the messaging that you want to present to the public. If the social media marketing team does not know what the marketing communications team has planned to launch, how will they be knowledgeable when they are representing you in these online communities? The members of the social media team are not the only ones who need to know the direction of the marketing messages. Everyone in the company should be educated because it helps to create a level of camaraderie, and almost everyone in your company is online in some manner. Having all employees on the same page about how your company should be represented can help prevent accidental snaffers from bringing your social media efforts to the screeching halt. Thinking that only your marketing department or the social media team needs to be aware of the marketing messages and branding can be a huge misstep when it comes to implementing a social media strategy. If your employees do not have a Facebook account or MySpace page now, they will have it within the next year. Social networking sites are often the gateways for most Americans to enter a social media community. Do you really want them to put information in their profiles about where they work and having that message conflict with the message you have put in place to promote your company? Successful offline marketing often does not translate nearly as well if at all in the online environment. People within online communities have become advertising polite and very skeptical of any attempts marketers make to infiltrate their community. Mass marketing messages that do not have the same appeal to people within online communities as they do to some driving in the car and listening to the radio and seeing a billboard. If your marketing team comes into the forum or community with the same message they push to everyone, it just will not jive with this type of online audience. As discussed in previous sections, online community members invest a lot of time in sharing their experience with other members. Social community members are making all an investment of not only time but also emotional connections. This makes them different than the average shoppers pushing the cart up and down the aisles to the local grocery store. The message needs to jive with these people, but surface. You must achieve this careful balance to make your marketing messages jive both online and offline. Largest companies are notorious for soloing their marketing efforts into specific departments, with each department performing a specific duty and knowing its boundaries. If those boundaries are overstepped, internal political issues can arise. Your company has some issues to overcome if internal stakeholders are more concerned about controlling their territory than seeing a strategy succeed. When departments do not talk to each other about the strategies they are planning to implement, it limits the strategy's full potential for success. One department might own a particular strategy and be the expert in that area, but other departments might be better equipped to implement aspects of the strategies. Before you delve into a new social media strategy, you must iron out these issues. When it comes to social media marketing, soloing can actually hinder the efforts because one hand will not know what the other is doing. A single department can develop tunnel vision and see success only from its perspective, which can limit your potential success. Other departments can contribute to your strategy and help propel that strategy into another realm of success. For some departments, sharing what's going on does not come too naturally. The old ways of marketing and communications enable the storing of information, meaning that some departments share with other departments only on a need-to-know basis. This worked in the old days of radio and print advertising. But unfortunately, for those stodgy old marketers, when stuck in the past, It does not work that way in the new world of online marketing, especially with social media. Most of the employees want to see your company succeed. They can spin over into their non-work lives, such as representing your company outside their working hours on the social media sites they are involved in. They might not be directly involved in your planning for social media, but you should be planning to educate them on the basics of their marketing efforts. When it comes to marketing online, some companies think only about consistencies between their websites and banner ads. Unfortunately, some companies do not carry over these consistencies to their social media marketing efforts as well. As social media consistently becomes a more prominent part of the online marketing equation, companies must start thinking beyond just their websites when it comes to branding. You need to consider everything from having your company logo used as an avatar to carefully choosing what list of your profiles on social media sites. It is all part of branding your company and helps build trust and establish authority in social media communities. No matter what the logo or messaging is, make sure you are consistent with its use across all the channels, both offline and online. Most important, make sure you take a full advantage of the entire might of your company by getting everyone on board and aware of those logos and messages, as well as their intended impact. Finally, you need to consider personal ethics matter. In general, we are all guided by our own moral compasses. Almost everyone has a genuine sense of what is right and wrong. Our parents, teachers, preachers, leaders, and society in general have molded our compasses. Stark differences can arise in what is viewed as right and wrong across the cultures or religions. But as neighbors in a global community, most people try to follow the compass of being nice to their neighbors. Businesses also need to have moral compasses. Putting themselves in social media communities shines a huge spotlight on their ethics and philosophies. They must reflect those ethics and philosophies in their actions within the social media communities. Members could view their action as immoral or might even dig into your previous actions in social media communities. If you have shown the same pattern of action in other places, members will announce it to the world and point out what a misguided effort the company continues to engage in. Conversations in social media communities are happening with or without your presence or engagement. If your company is not involved in social media, you are in effect of allowing those social media community members to influence how people perceive your brand, products, or services. Without your involvement, members of the community can judge your company by what other members post. How a community or individual company's members relate and share experiences can greatly affect the opinions that are formed. If you are not participating in these conversations, you are blindly and unknowingly enable others' personal ethics to defy the perceptions of your brands and your company. Each community has its own moral compass as well. Many communities are self-policing and will call out members who are not acting or engaging in a fair manner. Let's face it, everyone wants to feel special occasionally. Social media communities enable ordinary people who do not have the star power of Oprah or Madonna to fit the spectrum in every easy ways. By sharing thoughts and experiences with communities in consistent manner, ordinary people can become stars. When what you are sharing starts to resonate with a larger community, the star factor begins. As word spreads that either the communities or the influencer is someone people should be listening to, the influence or the star power rises. Many people who enter social media communities do not realize that this can happen to them, but when it does, it has hard not to grave the continual attention. As I have pointed out before, most people want to do the right thing and follow that moral compass. However, when they start to gain power and influence within a community and are considered a thought leader, moral compasses can become skewed. Marketers need to keep this in mind when looking at the community influencers. They want to engage for a portion of their social media strategies. When engaging these stars and relying on them, companies are, in essence, trusting these images to the stars' personalities. Researching the influences is imperative. You must understand the reach of their words, the effect of what they say, and how they reach that influencer status. Did they become a thought leader by ruthless or immoral tactics? If they have a reputation for being mean and calculating, do you really want to have your brand associated with the stars? Although controversy and drama are definitely traffic drivers, they are not usually the best tactics to implement within the social media strategy. Constantly creating some sort of situation that causes controversy can result in a certain labeling for your brand or company. Only if you are a gossip columnist in this is a good thing. Bloggers solve it when a lot of traffic comes to a blog post, and your team can mistakenly believe that controversy and drama is the way to shoot to the top of your industry. Unfortunately, companies that implement this tactic will see that it will backfires more often than it succeeds. The perception of ethical behavior is very important, and the question becomes whether you want to sacrifice your company's moral compass for the sake of the traffic that controversy and drama can bring. The internet is a powerful tool for marketers and consumers. That can be a blessing and a curse. When planning a social media strategy, marketers must keep in mind how the internet can amplify a message, whether it is their own message or someone else presenting a message about them that they have no control over. Messages on the internet take mere seconds to travel across the globe. Someone in Japan can form an instant opinion about your company within a moment of your community members in Florida posting an experience with your product. When 3 other people chime in that they had the same experience, that message is amplified. If the poster opinion is that your product operates opposite of your philosophy, a bad reputation will be amplified on the internet. Although the internet is a very powerful tool, its ability to amplify messages is definitely double-edged sword that marketers must factor into social media strategies. Overall, marketers need to keep in mind that we are all human and most people want to be treated that way. Community members on social media sites do not want to be treated as just another channel, open on which to have their messages stand. That only upsets community members and makes them question the company's morality and ethics. It is imperative that everyone on the team who will be influential in representing your company's philosophies and ethics. This enables them to uphold those ethics when they are representing you to these community members. So it is all about the lesson today. How can you, a businessman, can brand and message about your products or services on social media? Firstly, interns make coffee, not social media strategies. Secondly, branding and messaging need to be consistent. And finally, personal ethics matters. Thank you for your listening.